somebody was getting into gear, you know, say they're like a high school student, they're like, let's just stay in the electric world. What would you recommend somebody that's getting into blues? What would you say?
All right, so the first thing I always suggest is a $3,000 electric guitar going into a $100 amp's going to sound crap. A $100 guitar going into a good amplifier is going to sound good. It doesn't really matter how bad the actual guitar is. I got a $70 right-handed electric guitar I got from a company, and my friend Brian came over. We plugged it into my amp, and it sounded. He's a fantastic player, but it sounds great going into a good amp. So my first suggestion would be get a decent amplifier. Spend more. If you got, say, $500 or say, I don't know, even up to $1,000 or less, depending on what your budget is, spend the majority of that on a good amplifier, because it's something that will make your sound much, much better than the opposite. Having a great guitar and bad amplifier is going to sound bad.
Yeah.
I would also suggest starting at something like a Squier or something like that, and you know, there's not a huge difference between classic vibe strats and US American strats in terms of tone. They feel different to play. They might look a little bit different, but I know professionals who, like one guy in Australia, Ray Beadle, is like the best guitar player I've ever heard in my life. He uses a Squier Strat, but he plays it into an amazing amp. The guy's the best player I've ever heard. Like, I haven't been anywhere in the world and heard anyone better than this guy. Even, you know, I saw James Brown, even his guitar player. I saw Eric Clapton, I saw Derek Trucks, all these guys, John Mayer. Ray plays a Squier and he rips it like you wouldn't believe.
That's awesome.
So I would say start with something that inspires you in the types of music that you want to play. So if you're a blues guy and you like predominantly Strat players, or if you're into, you know, Les Paul type blues players or SG players, start with a guitar that works. So Epiphone, Tokai, I know you can't really get them in the States, but you know, something in that middle ground of guitar and spend the majority.
Tokais go for a premium here.
Yeah, they're not cheap here new either. But they're awesome.
Are they?
They're as good as you get. Yeah, I mean, I've had custom shop Les Pauls that are on par with their stock Japanese guitars. That's the quality. So yeah, they're awesome. But you know, if you're on a budget, I'd suggest, you know, the Epiphone stuff is good. The Squier classic vibe stuff is good. Even some of the just generic Squier stuff can be okay. You'd be better off with a guitar like that into say a Hot Rod Deluxe amp, for example. Just using that as an example, as opposed to a Gibson Les Paul into a $100 Samick amplifier. It's not gonna work. So I would suggest, you know, that plus a tube screamer, and then you'd be done. That's it.
We used to...
Clean channel of an amplifier with a pedal is generally better than most drive channels on amplifiers.
Okay.
That's my opinion as well. That's just opinion. That's not fact.
No,
but that's through
probably
15, 18, 20 years of playing live. So
well, that's how I run mine. Is I have a Hot Rod Deluxe, and it just right at the edge. And then if you need more, then use your pedals. That's
Yep.
When I was teaching, I would have students, and I would try to convince their parents, like, they don't need another guitar. Because a lot of times parents will say, if you do whatever, if you take for this long, and if you learn these things, I'll buy you something. Which is, I don't know. I never had that problem. I was always playing. But you know, I'd have students and then buy, like, they'd have a Squier Stratocaster, like in a starter pack, and then, you know, they're playing with their Line 6 amp, and, you know, like a little 15 watt or whatever, and then they get like I had one student, he got they're pretty nice guitars, those SE PRSs.
Oh yeah, they're awesome. Yeah.
But you know, I remember after he got that, we were playing, and he said, "How come when I play here, like, it sounds so much better?" I was like, "Well, it's your amplifier." That's, you know, I hate to say it, but you know, it is absolutely true. I'd rather go into a secondhand store or pawn shop and buy a $50 guitar and have a nice amp than a $1,000 guitar and a crappy amp. Absolutely.